Welcome to the Mind Duck Books podcast. It's been a while, hasn't it? I'm excited to give you an episode we've recorded about 2 years ago. At the time we planned to release it when the movie comes out, and it just did. So even though the podcast has been on hiatus for 2 years, I am still here. And if you still like listening to this show, I'd appreciate it very much if you let me know. Leave a comment, send me a message. And I hope you can enjoy this episode about David Koepp's Cold Storage, which is a sci-fi, horror, thrilling, suspenseful adventure about fungus. Today we're talking about Cold Storage from 2019, only 300 pages. And I'm very excited to have Martin and Adam back. It's been 2 years since we all read the book together. Can you believe it?
Has it really?
Really? Oh, like the three of us. Oh, I see.
We've done episodes separately with Adam and Martin. And all three of us on the same episode was on episode 15, Hail Mary by Andy Weir.
Okay.
2 years ago. More than 2 years ago. So it's... Do you feel old? Has it been a while?
Yeah, I feel fine. I'm okay. Maybe I've been having like weird temptation to find like the most populated area in the vicinity and climb the highest tower for some reason.
My God.
Lately, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, how are you?
Yeah, great. Thanks for asking. Nobody ever asks me. Thank you. I think this is the first time.
I've been meaning to for a couple of episodes now, and this is finally the time I managed to do it.
So the book today is called Cold Storage by David Koepp, and the reason I picked it was that the synopsis mentioned something about Andy Weir, which we covered on episode 15, and it should be very technical and very, very much up our alley, like to read a fun, short sci-fi thriller book that's, a little bit more down to earth. I was expecting very realistically, technically, like chemistry-wise, very realistic. That was the appeal. Have you heard of David Koepp before we started with this book?
Not at all.
Nope, not at all.
Do you know anything about him?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay.
I think he's a screenwriter for
yes,
movies.
that's the extent of my knowledge as well. Yes.
So maybe we should start talking about him before we get into the book, because that will give you a lot of background and it will explain most of why the book is like the book is.
Has he been...
I was very curious because I read a little bit about him.
Is he a chemistry major or something like that?
No.
Okay.
No?
Okay.
No. But I have to say that I didn't feel like it was nonsense, the chemistry
there are
descriptions.
some parts that are making sense, some parts that don't.
Martin might be the most informed. I have no idea about chemistry. Unfortunately, Sam from Book Retorts is not here. I would love to hear his opinion about this. He would probably laugh his ass off when he read this. David Koepp is a screenwriter, director primarily, and he's a money-making machine. He has written so many screenplays of so many successful movies that it's insane. He's written the screenplay for Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, Mission Impossible, the Spider-Man movies, Angels and Demons, Panic Room, Death Becomes Her, War of the Worlds. I can go on. There's like a million movies he's written the screenplay from. Sometimes he's the director, sometimes he's the screenwriter, sometimes he's the story writer. But usually it's like an adaptation and he's only the screenwriter.
That would explain a lot, at least by this book kind of reads like a movie, or I feel like it could be very good as a movie with the way that the story flows.
Mm-hmm. It felt like a blockbuster movie, right? The book felt almost like watching a movie.
It doesn't necessarily read like a screenplay. It expands on that a bit more. It is still a book primarily, but yeah, it could definitely be adapted to a movie.
So this is his first book he's ever written, his own story and his own book. It's a debut from 2019. And he since then written another book already to 2022. He's like a machine. He's just pumping out movies and all of them are making loads of money. And this book we're talking about today also will be adapted this or next year. I think they just postponed it for 2025.
How does he have time to write books if he's just doing screenplays for every good movie in the past 10 years?
I think he's made enough money, and I think he's just trying to do something different because, you know, his career couldn't be more successful. And even though he had some failures, like he produced and directed, I think, 4 or 5 movies, and those were not financially successful at all. They were all kind of failures. And among the other screenplays he's written, he's also had some failures. For example, the 2017 Mummy with Tom Cruise. So he's behind the two. And there is something called Zafura the Space Adventure, which looks awful. And
but
it's also written by him.
It does sound amazing, though. I kind of want to read that just by the name. Or, is it a movie or is it a book? It's a movie.
It's a movie.
Yeah, I wanna watch that. Just maybe the trailer only.
So Thor is awesome. It's Jumanji.
Oh, chances it's Jumanji.
It's Jumanji in space? I want to watch that now. Okay, yeah.
Everybody wants to watch that now. So
yeah, Jumanji in space.
He said himself that he thinks it's a very bad movie. So I don't know.
It's fine, but it's
yeah. So basically, he's very, very successful, but he's made some very bad movies. And I watched some interviews with him. He seems like a very, stereotypical white guy from the US, but he seems very nice and clever. And he said that he's been talking about all his successes and failures, and his motto is that the number one goal is to avoid public humiliation. That if he can achieve that with his movies, then he's happy enough. And he's had his best friend. He has his best friend. I'm not sure his name, or some producer that he works with very often, and he always tries to support him when his movies fail, because there have been many, he says. And the advice that he's really taken to heart is that you haven't lived until you have taken down a whole studio. So
that sounds good on your resume, I assume. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
so he's
yeah,
not
it feels
afraid.
like he has ideas and he's not afraid to put them in motion.
Yeah. So needless to say, this book wasn't as intellectually deep, I guess. How did you like it? So let's get back on track. Usually we start with the general impressions about the book. So how did you like Cold Storage?
I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. When I was reading it, at least. It, I don't want to say falls apart in like retrospect, but there is a lot of pretty whack ideas that happen. But overall, it was an enjoyable ride. It was very fast paced. It was nice. Never really lost the thread. Never really slowed down too much. Towards the end, it was getting a little overcomplicated there, so it took a while. But still, it was going well. Characters were nice, likable, relatable, to an extent competent.
Yeah.
That's always good. Say few maybe like plot holes a little bit, but overall it was pretty like so the suspension of disbelief wasn't too broken. Yeah,
That's
I agree.
Broken.
I like the characters.
only on that, or on more things than just liking the characters.
No. I mostly, I'm with Adam. It was lots of fun. I just meant to say that the characters were a surprise to me. I didn't expect them to be like characters. I was expecting very much to be a scientist. We don't care
Yeah,
who
the
that
characters
is.
are
But there was a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
well described
That was good.
character.
I
development.
thought that the romance also quite worked, and maybe not
Actually, yes.
necessarily in the epilogue, but during the events of the story that worked well. I don't like romance in my media. I like Sanderson very much because of that, because he doesn't do romance in this media other
that's
than the
right.
Skyward
He does,
series, but it's
he does,
kind of
but
secondary.
it's actually very
Whatever.
natural, so it's very hard to like.
It's very in the background. It's very
Yeah,
much
yeah.
not the focus.
That's a good point. He never goes in depth about that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's just like a background.
Perfect. I love it.
there is no time to.
But here the relationship is quite cute between the two characters.
I agree with that. I also agree that the story is very streamlined. It gives you like there is no word that comes to waste. Like goes to waste. You know, you every sentence has a point that like it aims to the end and gives you some reason to continue. So I like that it actually like has one idea to tell one story, and there is no crazy stuff around. There are some, as you said, concepts that just like got thrown out there and weren't fleshed out as fully as I would like them to, but for the purpose of the story and for the purpose of the narration, like the fast-paced narration, I think it worked very well. So I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, the pacing felt like it grabs you, and it's a very, very easy read. It was a breeze to read. When I started reading it, I was very afraid it's going to be zombies, and there was something else that happening with the quote-unquote zombies that we'll get into in spoilers. I want to say it was a blast. I really, really enjoyed it. It was super easy to read. And then I thought about it a little bit, and I wouldn't call it a blast. I would call it like a wet fungal splotch splattered on a window, and as it slides down and just spreads on the floor,
Okay.
it's slightly predictable, very amusing, super entertaining, but ultimately forgettable and a little underwhelming. Is my impression.
Like I went through. I remember I really enjoyed it as I was listening to it, and then I went through my notes yesterday. I was like, this doesn't sound very good. How am I supposed to recommend this? I enjoyed it, but I'm not sure I would actually recommend it very strongly. It sounds kind of
flashy
bad
is the word here. Like it's very, very entertaining, like capital E entertaining. But
so now
it's
thinking,
good at selling it. It's not actually the quality of the story.
Yeah, now I'm thinking about how much of the enjoyment is actually not out of the story itself, but out of the narration of the audiobook, because I think at least you Adam and I as well, because I'm a proper body man and I have no time to read books. I listen to the audiobook and I always say this, but like audiobook narrators, thank you. You deserve not to be replaced by AI. You are outstanding, and you deserve more money. Because at least in this book, the narration was amazing, and the narrator did a good job with all the voices, did a good job with sound effects as well. So it was a full package that kind of gave you even more feeling, or at least me, that I'm watching a movie, or at least an audio story that was actually written as a kind of a screenplay for a radio show or something like that. Did you listen to the audiobook or read it, Philip?
I read about a quarter and then I listened, so mostly listened. But I didn't remember any sound effects, so maybe I had some lame version.
I also don't remember any sound effects, but the narrator was very good,
which was fun. It's the beep boop.
I guess there may be beeping sounds. Yeah.
I remember the guy saying beep, the person who read it, so I didn't have beeps.
Okay, maybe the beeps were special edition content. I don't know, but I remember them vividly. Maybe I was infected by a fungi, and then the fungi compelled me to listen to beeps in the neighboring area, and then explain to myself that it's actually inside of the audiobook to like it more, to spread the message of the fungi.
So I want to say that I was very pleasantly surprised that they tried to do something a little bit different, and that the book tried to do things that you can't do in a movie. That's probably why he wanted to write the book, because he's usually been working with like a more visual medium, and this takes into consideration some more psychological or some more like chemistry wise. Like you can't do these things in movies. Like you can't describe what is happening on the chemistry level, you can't describe what's going on in people's heads, and if you do, it always comes off awkward or boring in movies. So I feel like this is one of his most one of the biggest reasons why he wrote the book, because he wanted to try something a little different. And that was my favorite part of the book, like the internal struggle of the characters and like describing the chemistry process. So I like that a lot. But having said that, I hoped it would be more of that, and it was far in between, like a little bit there and here, not as much as I was hoping there would be.
I can relate to that. Yeah.
So less stuff blowing up and more introspection.
No, but keep the blowing up stuff. I like that. But the premise or the reasons for the blowing up, I hoped there were like a few things I wasn't very sure about how they actually work, and I hoped there would be more depth to them. So we'll get into that in spoilers. I don't want to say what happens.
There are things that the story is built upon that really require some suspension of disbelief.
I'm very interested in your...
Like, I think he does a good job of kind of glossing over these points.
Yes,
where it makes it very easy to just accept it and move on. Because he moves on very quickly from that.
Exactly. I think that's exactly for the movie. Like, you don't have time to think in movies.
But I don't know what kind of spoilers we can get into now. I think... I'm not sure if saying how the... No, I don't think we should be saying
let's save it for later.
I think that's what I did.
Yeah.
With
there are some issues.
With like the plot that the disbelievable parts were kind of glossed over, so I mostly ignored them, I think. Except the chemistry part, which we can talk about later. But that got me into a rabbit hole that... I think thanks to that rabbit hole, I enjoyed this book much more than I should have enjoyed it. But actually, I think it kind of breaks the book. So we can talk about that. Yeah, spoilers.
Okay, we shall dissect it. I have a feeling that I always say this is the best test for me, as much as like rating a book or thinking about the quality of a book. If after we've talked about it, I always know if it always gets better or worse. So we'll see if it gets worse after we talk about it. I want to say one more thing about David Koepp and the movies. So this movie is supposed to have Liam Neeson as the main character, or not the main character, Roberto Diaz, the older guy.
Okay.
And
sure.
And the other Tea-Cake, the character Tea-Cake should be Joe Keery, but I don't know if you know who that is. He was famous in the Stranger Things TV show.
Oh, yeah, I could see that. That fits.
So I think that works pretty well. I think that's how I imagine Tea-Cake pretty well.
I think that works too, yeah.
Yep.
So are you going to watch the movie when it comes out?
Like, why not? I mean, the story is not something that special that you, like, if you get it spoiled, you, like, cannot enjoy it anymore. I think it's kind of fun to enjoy even though you really know what's going to happen. So I think I will watch it.
Yeah. So it should have come out about now, but recently they changed, so it should be 2025. So now I'm unsure when to release this episode.
Okay, we'll 2025 we do a follow-up episode where we review the movie.
We never did that, so I'm not sure I want to, but we could. Yeah, we could. Maybe we can do another book by him, but I'm not sure I want that either. So I meant the second book he's written is called Aurora, 2022, and also planned for a movie immediately because it's just a money-making machine. And that one has a premise that there's something called CMEs, coronal mass ejection. So when you have like the Northern Lights, Aurora Borealis, it's caused by a cloud of plasma from the sun, electromagnetic plasma. And 150 years ago, there was some kind of strong solar flare or CME. I'm not really sure I'm saying any of this right, but something was coming from the sun and hit Earth directly, and it caused a blackout for a few months, like the electricity grid. But nobody really cared at the time because the only thing that was running on electricity at the time was the telegraph. So people were like, oh, okay, we didn't have the telegraph for a few months. So basically, the scientists predict that every 100, 200 years this happens. So we should be hit by something like that probably sometime in the next 50, 100 years. It's already overdue based on the prediction. And if it happens, it would cause a blackout for about a year, they claim. So that's like an apocalypse waiting to happen, I guess.
There's
so that's
no kind of defense or shielding against that we could devise, or like there's some research behind this actually, or is it?
I don't think you can Faraday cage the entire Earth.
With some very strong magnetic field, you maybe could, or not. I don't know.
That's exactly what they asked him in the interview I was listening to, and he said that it's very easy to protect yourself from it if you strengthen the architecture and the infrastructure of the electric wiring and everything. So if you shield it, it's very easy to prevent. And you don't have to shield it that much. But obviously, most of the infrastructure built in most of the countries around the world doesn't have any of that at all. And people don't even know this exists, so they don't even want to or consider preparing for anything like it. So it probably wouldn't cause a blackout of everything everywhere, but it would kill like 90% of stuff. So that would be a very major event. So yeah. So that's the next premise for the next book. I feel like we can very easily imagine
like
what the book is about.
Pretty average disaster book, to be honest.
Yeah,
sure.
So that's gonna be the next movie. And last tidbit is that now they are working with Spielberg on an upcoming movie about UFOs and UAPs and stuff that's based on the recent US news about the Air Force releasing all those videos about the UFOs and stuff like that. So that's what they're working on now. So sounds like it's a fun project. So yeah, when David Koepp writes something, it makes money. That's the bottom line.
Except when it doesn't, for the 5 occasions that.
Except when it doesn't, but then he makes the other one, and it's okay. So before we get into the plot, anything else you'd like to say, or would you recommend this as usual?
I would recommend it.
I just wanted to ask,
but with the caveat that it's kind of like it's not super serious. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, with a grain of salt. That's for sure. I want to really ask that, like, how would you describe this book actually, like in a sentence?
Yeah, we never said that. Yeah, I just said it's like a thriller. It's almost a horror at parts, and it's basically like a fungus, like mushroom experiment accident going wild. I feel like that's what people probably know if they check this book. It says it on the cover, and yeah, it's very much focused on the characters and the action. It's very focused. It's not very intellectual. I don't know how to say that. It's not very. Yeah, it's just for fun. I feel like it's the fun is the emphasis.
So, a thriller with apocalyptic undertones, or
yeah. I feel like this is a very, very mainstream, like mass audience, mass appeal. Like everybody can enjoy this book, but it doesn't go very deep.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
That sounds about right.
So I would recommend it too. If you want something very relaxing and just like, read it, you don't have to focus very much. Like if you miss a part while listening to the audio book, you'll be okay. Like it's okay. It's just fun. So for that, I enjoyed it very much. It was a huge contrast. I just read 2 Dune books before this, and it was like this is not even a book when I was reading it, because it just goes by and you don't even have to like stop think about anything very much.
I'm gonna ask the obvious question, and that is how would you compare this to the Last of Us series?
Exactly, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say, and it's very similar in many ways. The difference is that the zombies are not really there as much, and they are different.
Right. So do you like the?
Yeah. So it's
do you like
different.
The concept of the disease in this one versus the disease in Last of Us? Like, which one would you prefer as a storytelling plot device?
I like this better in a book.
Okay.
Definitely for a book, this is so much better, and that's what I'm going to talk about a lot in the spoilers. So I guess I'll save it a bit longer.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I like this better.
As a Last of Us newbie, because I've been only watching the TV series lately, because actually thanks to this book, because I was like, oh, this is a similar concept to the games that I've heard that are very good and I never played. And there is a TV series. Oh, okay, I'll watch the TV series. So now I'm watching the TV series, and I'm gonna say this book sounds like an alternative beginning to the Last of Us series.
The beginning is almost identical. They have almost exactly the same prologue. Yeah. I was immediately reminding of it. I was like, oh no, I didn't know this was here. I don't want more fungal zombies. So, but yeah, it was different enough. I was pleased to find out what it was.
So we do have fungal zombies, but in a different way. And that way is actually very refreshing. In a different way.
Different enough. Yeah, it is different enough. So if you're curious enough, stop listening and please read the book. Come back when you have read it. It's very short. The audiobook is only 6 hours, maybe something like that. 7 hours.
Yeah.
I feel it's like 10 or something.
It won't cost you as much time, and it goes by really fast. So if you enjoy reading and you want to rest with a book that's fun, I would recommend
it. It's 8 hours and 6 minutes.
Okay. Some books are 8 hours and 6 minutes and they get never finished. Like this one was immediately finished. This one was very easy. So let's get into the plot. I have many questions for you, and we'll go over the plot details.
Answers for you.
I guess my questions aren't like what happened. My questions are more what do you think and how would you understand? Or I have to say it was it wasn't predictable. I have to say there were a lot of situations where something happened. I was like, what the hell? Why this? It was kind of amusingly nonsense at points.
Yes,
at points.
It's not that it's unpredictable in a necessarily good way. It's just that such a random things happen sometimes. Like,
so that's exactly one of my questions. So is that good or bad? So it's not good for you? Like the random stuff?
Reading the book, I didn't mind it. It seemed to make sense. But looking back at it, it's like,
it's
well,
like
that's
it
whack.
Makes sense, trust me. Let's move on. Okay. I feel like that was the way. But I didn't find it predictable either. But it was kind of comfortable in a way, because it doesn't give you an obvious solution to a problem. It doesn't give you the obvious answer. But it doesn't give you like a super complicated, very scientific, very like accurate answer, which would be very hard to read. So I think it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you an answer, and it gives you zero time to think about it, so that you can't question it as it moves on.
That's a good way to put it. That was exactly what I meant to ask you. Yeah? So it's funny how it's very like we've had this story so many times. It's a very like beaten to death, like beating the dead horse story, but it's still kind of new and unexpectedly fun. So yeah, I have to give him credit for that. It was not boring. That's something. So the story starts with a prologue that's very similar, like we said, about this fungus or this mycelium. I don't even know what's the difference between mycelium and fungus, by the way. I'm gonna be just saying a lot of things I don't know anything about, so please excuse me.
Fungus is the whole organism, like the name of it, and the mycelium is just the like underground part of it. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
The root system, like I think.
Yeah.
So they mentioned this the largest living organism in the world is a mushroom or fungus or mycelium or one of these. I guess I should be saying fungus.
It's a shroom.
A shroom. It's called the honey fungus, or the scientific name is Armillaria solidipes. I don't know how you pronounce that. So this fungus is 8,000 years old and covers 3.7 square miles, and it moves very slowly. So it can move about 3 feet per year, like the spread. I'm not sure what that's in centimeters. Look that up. And it can kill a tree in about 50 years if it gets infected. So that's about the measurement. And the premise is that if it mutates and it starts to spread faster, we are just doomed. In the Last of Us, I think the premise is that they look at a specific fungus that is killed by temperature. So if it's warmer than some degrees in the host's body, then it doesn't survive. And the mutation that turns the zombies into zombies in The Last of Us is that the mutation of the fungus allowed it to survive inside of an organism that's hot, like 30-something degrees. And so that's the premise there. And here it's just the fungus, if it was faster, it would kill us.
I think the premise is the same, because the actual fungus that is behind all this is the same. It's the cordyceps. Yeah,
it's the same.
But,
okay.
You are right in that it's explained in a different point of view. That in The Last of Us they focus on the temperature part and that it cannot survive because of the temperature. In this, it focuses on many different aspects. One of which is being that it's not spreading fast enough. So it's this way. The cordyceps. There are many different reasons than just the temperature why it doesn't. Why it's no feasible for attacking humans, and I think this book explains it more thoroughly than the Last of Us series.
Yeah, that's right. It's also the same mushroom that's famous for infecting insects and then controlling them. Like the mushroom will grow into the brain of an ant, and then the ant will go somewhere and spread the mushroom. It's the same fungus, right?
Yes, exactly. Which is still amazing to me how this exists in nature.
That's also a reference in The Last of Us, and that's the scariest part. That's the whole premise. I think that's the whole inspiration behind all these horror stories. And very, very creepy, and that's what they dive into, like, in depth. What is it like when a human would be infected by this, and what's the thought process, or how does it feel if you were infected with this and the brain would be infected and such. So that's the most interesting part of the story, I feel like.
How did you like the introspection of the fungus, Adam? Would you agree with this, with Philip?
If I follow the comparisons to The Last of Us, I know literally nothing about it. So
that's fine. Don't worry about that. I just mean, if you think the part where the person is infected is the best in the book, we keep thinking about.
Yeah. So I guess. I don't know. When they start infecting the humans, it's not in the introduction chapter, but later on. That's when it really starts going whack.
At the end, it kind of falls apart. That's fair. And I haven't really thought about that. At the beginning...
No, that's really interesting. The part at the beginning that sets up like really interesting idea, but then we get to the how much these fungi think.
That's exactly the thing I want to talk about. Yes,
as like, and then they turn into zombies, and it's like, oh, that's not that interesting anymore. Now
that's the part I was disappointed about. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the biggest talking point I wanted to discuss with you. So, how much do they think? Like, at the beginning, it's just.
I have this in my notes as well.
Okay.
It's very vague.
So maybe we can talk about what happens and then get to it a little bit later. So you have time to think about it. But I have many questions as different
Let's leave
points.
It for later. Yeah.
Okay. So the story starts with a team of like a containment unit going to a place that's been infested with some kind of something that they don't really know, and the main character, who's called Roberto Diaz, is explaining what happened, and they get like a very short story. Like, it was so short, like I was like give me some more details about this experiment. So basically they are trying to research medicine, antifungal medicine for the space station, if I understand correctly.
Yes, I think so.
And they have some kind of fungus, which is this what is it called? Corceptis, Morceptis, Borceptis.
The coronaviruses. No, it's like the cordyceps.
What is the name? Cordyceps, thank you. So the cordyceps fungus, why do they need that one to have antifungal medicine? I don't understand, but okay. The point is that it can survive all kinds of harsh conditions. So they take it to space, and I guess the idea is that they want to find a way to kill it in space in case it spreads into the space station, and that way they can stop it because they don't know what it would do in space, and they are sure it would survive in space. Is that the right idea?
Are they sure? I thought they were just kind of trying to observe how it behaves in space, but they didn't know if it survives or not.
bottom line, this is one of the things like, okay, not explain, moving on. Let's go.
I don't even remember there was such a discussion there. Like
there wasn't any discussion. That's just me discussing
very resilient fungus.
We put a fungus in space. The probe with the fungus has fallen on the ground. Now we have fungus that have mutated to survive in space on Earth. We have a problem, and that's the beginning of the story.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. But I was trying to somehow find some justification because they give all these unnecessary details, like the rust contributed to it to get out of the container, and then there was like a potato wrapped on the rust because somebody went to clean the container. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's nutrients.
Talking about? Is this supposed to be?
It's carbon. It's carbon. You need carbon to survive. Amino acids.
Okay.
All of it.
Well, I guess I'm already overthinking everything. So, fungus from space falls to Earth, and it's not very safe. That's it. So the containment unit, they go to contain it. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Okay, so they go to contain this virus, and the virus keeps spreading. And another, for me, the second best part of this book is the chemical processes that are described. What the fungus has to go through to get out of the containment, and how it spreads, and what kind of nutrition it finds, and where it goes, and how it grows, and what kind of stuff it does. I like that a lot. I can't describe it because I'm not a chemist, but it starts spreading very rapidly after the is it like a oxygen tank from the space station is breached?
I think so. It's like breaches the oxygen tank, and then there's rust in the oxygen tank, and that somehow reacts with something else. I don't know. I'm very...
All the reactions that were described seemed very plausible to me, but I have no idea about any of them, so...
Very easy to suspend your disbelief when you have absolutely no idea what they are saying.
I didn't really...
So please...
I didn't really understand either. I was more interested...
So please, Sam, if you're listening, tell us if it's bollocks. It's what I'm asking.
But I think this part would make sense. But the next part with the endosymbiont and everything, when we get to that, I have a rabbit hole to go down to.
Okay, I'll tell Sam when the movie comes out. There is the movie, so they should do the movie on their podcast, and then they can tell us if it's nonsense. So the guy who is living next to the place where the oxygen tank crashed gets infected with the fungus, and I'm not sure if he explodes already or just it grows inside him.
The point is that the fungi infects them, compels that while the body is still sort of intact, it compels them to move to higher ground, and there they explode to spread further.
Yeah. So
this somehow infects all the other residents of the city, and that's it.
So the action scene or the thrilling scene at the beginning is they put on hazmat suits and they go investigate what happened, and they find this fungus and they try to look at it, and they see that it grows super fast and it's very unreal, and it gets on a shoe of one of the characters.
Yes.
And it eats its way through the plastic of the shoe, which was very thrilling.
And endosymbiont and everything. And I...
going to skip a big bag. There is one thing that I was not sure if I should drop the book right away.
Okay.
Why was there what was the point of the entire discussion on the plane? So we are flying in, and we get this whole backstory for the characters. There is this young female scientist with a thing for a married man for whatever fucking reason, and there is our perfect, amazing agent with his amazing wife and fantastic children, everything, who has a thing for flirting with women who are not his wife. Why was this there? What was
I think this
point?
is
that's the characterization.
Is this characterization
I think it's basically?
That's his character. He's a like.
It's like they do in anime. Like before character dies, you have to know something about the character, you know. So we don't know that hero dies. I to be honest, I assumed that hero would be the main character of the whole book, which she wasn't, and I think that's a good thing. But the way that they introduced hero, it looked like she's gonna be important in the story. and then she basically immediately dies. And I think this introduction was that, you know, we should care about her a little bit before it's taken from us. For me, it worked.
Yeah, I think so. It's very much for the movie.
It felt
scene.
very much like the common complaint of men writing women. Like, yeah, sure. Okay. I just don't buy it.
I think this is 100% the setup for the characters. Just, you know, have you ever seen before the action starts in the movie?
Like, other than this, I have no issues with the character writing, but this was just what?
Yeah, it felt very out of place, and I was reading. I was like, and I'm gonna hate this. I hope he hasn't given up yet. But
Yeah, it feels that way. That's for sure.
Okay, on to the rubber shoe. Then.
To the part, I think this is actually my favorite part of the whole book, like the beginning scene when she smells inside of the hazmat suit that something's going on, they don't know what, but then the fungus eats through the shoe and it gets into her bloodstream and then it blocks her pain receptors and she cannot recognize that it's like eating through her leg, and then it kind of grows into her brain. And it was very well put, like very well described. I really like that.
And there it sent me to the rabbit hole. But I have a question for you. That is, how long did it take to get through the shoe, like for the fungus?
Yeah, way too short. That's my problem. Like,
well,
that sounds
actually, it would work that way, but okay. Let's get into the tangent. So, okay, we have a problem. Like, Hero has fungus on her shoe, so the fungus, now we go into the POV of the fungus, which was a very fun part, and I enjoyed it a lot. But, okay, the fungus has a problem. It has to get through, like, the hard rubber of the hazmat suit shoe, and what it does, it has this thing that's called endosymbiont, and from Wikipedia, I can say that it's like organism that lives in the cells of some organisms, and it helps the organism to produce some chemicals that the organism itself it cannot. And normally, the endosymbiont is usually used to produce some nutrients for the host. So it would produce something that the host itself cannot produce to give it food. But in this sense, it was a little bit different, and that is that the endosymbiont is like on the surface of the mushroom or of the shroom, and then the shroom, or like at least the endosymbiont, goes through this chain of chemical mutations or chemical reactions and tries to produce something that goes through the shoe, right? And it tries different things. We get explained that, okay, this would be a good antibiotic, but it doesn't work on a shoe. This would be good for like making nylon socks, but not really good for breaking down a shoe. And at one point it jumps... and that's where I have the problem. Like, it made some sense with the chemical reaction it does, and then it jumped to like fluoroantimonic acid, which is
that was insane.
First of all, that's the okay. How much information do you want? How much information? Do you have 20 minutes? I'll try 10 minutes.
Try medium.
So let's start with the basics. What is an acid? Disclaimer. I'm not I minored in something that was slightly connected to chemistry, so I am knowledgeable enough to be fascinated by any chemical reaction, but I actually know nothing about chemistry. So basically that's my baseline. So take everything I say with a grain of salt, but actually, I've done some research on this because I wanted to say how feasible the actual burning through a rubber shoe with this super acid that it produces is, like how feasible this is. And okay, acids, they are compounds or like chemicals which donate a proton or electron or accept an electron pair in reactions. That's the definition. But okay, let's think about it on a very easy way. That's we all know the pH scale, right? So the pH scale.
This is like a speech presentation prepared by my
This is gonna be my TED talk on acids and superacids and the feasibility of fungi producing superacids inside their cells. It's
amazing.
not possible. Okay, yeah. Long story short, it's not possible. So the thing is, the pH scale. We all know it's like the scale that measures, for all intents and purposes, how acidic or how basic the solution is. Of water and some other chemical, and it goes from 0 to 14, where 0 is something that's extremely acidic and 14 is something that's extremely basic, like I am for sometimes. And then like 7 is somewhere neutral, so 7 is water. And for acids we need to go down. So for example, lemon juice has a pH of 2. Gastric acid, which is inside our stomachs, has a pH of 1. So, and that's why that's a strong acid actually. But there's a mucus inside our stomach that's protecting us, and that mucus gets constantly replaced by the body because it's being dissolved by the gastric acid, and that's the only thing that's protecting us from being eaten from the inside by the acid, and that has pH of 1. Yeah, and then you have sulfuric acid, or at least 98% concentrate of sulfuric acid, which is like the king of acids, has a pH value of 0.1. So extremely acidic stuff. Okay. And then there are superacids. Superacids are something that is even more acidic than sulfuric acid. And to just give you the reference, like sulfuric acid, if you get it on your skin, it starts burning very rapidly, and it basically, if you leave it there for a few minutes, you might not have a functioning arm anymore. So really serious stuff. In chemistry classes, they tell you this every class. But what it essentially means for superacids is that these are even stronger, and the pH scale doesn't really work for them anymore because they are too strong to be measured on this scale. At least it would not make this calculation of pH possible in a realistic way, and they would not be able to measure it in a proper way. So they have another scale that's called Hamlet acidity function, and just for this.
Wow. Didn't expect we would get this deep.
I said it's a rabbit hole. It's you're getting the full rabbit hole. And this acidity function, let's make it simple and say that it's equivalent to the pH. It's just a way to generalize it to go even further into the negative values of pH. And the fluoroantimonic acid, now I'll get to the point, fluoroantimonic acid is...
So that's the one from the book, or that's something else?
That's what the fungus produces.
Okay.
Is having a pH or H0 of minus 31.3 versus 0.
Wow.
So minus 31.3. To put that into perspective,
some intense stuff.
From a random guy on Quora that has done the calculation, the fluoroantimonic acid, so very knowledgeable, very, very trustworthy source, but the fluoroantimonic acid is actually few quadrillion times stronger than SO4, so than sulfuric acid.
It sounds like xenomorph blood.
Yeah, okay, that's a good comparison. Basically, anything organic that this acid touches instantly becomes carbon. It instantly burns to nothing, or like to basic components. So why is this stupid? Because to be able to produce this thing inside of your cells, first of all, it would require an amazing amount of energy to produce that. You would need a lot of components, chemical components that the that the fungus definitely doesn't have in its surrounding.
That's exactly my biggest problem with this. Yes.
It would also require the fungus to have some protective mechanism that is like protecting it from the strongest acid in the universe in a way that it burns through the rubber shoe faster than the fluoroantimonic acid burns the mushroom. So like how does that work? There's no way that works. So,
yeah, there's like layers of nonsense you can like peel off, and like the top layer is like, okay, so how is it like even producing all this stuff, and what does it mean to produce it? Where does it get the energy? Where does it get the stuff to produce it? How does it not eat itself? It's like so many levels of nonsense you just described.
Yeah,
well,
like
so
that was the main rabbit hole that I got into. But I actually enjoyed that part very well. And if you look past through this, it's very fun to read. but it doesn't hold up, I think. But
because you don't understand the chemistry, it's perfectly acceptable explanation.
But even that, so that's what I was thinking about when I was reading this, and I don't understand the chemistry at all, and I can accept it, and I can suspend my disbelief. But I think it was very far-fetched in the sense of the speed.
Yeah, you still
and
find
the
it.
amounts.
You still find it very very suspicious, right?
I think it would work much more. It would be more believable if they had it more. Like if there were some time skips in the story. That's what I was hoping. I thought they would be like, oh, it crashed in 1970 and now it's 1990 and it spread that much under the ground here and it's all over the place there. And then, oh, it got invented by this guy and the guy didn't know.
Yeah.
And after 5 years, it like started telling him stuff. That's what
which
I was
they kind
expecting
of
and
did
hoping for.
in the later part where it was like stored in the storage facility, right, for a very long time, and it slowly got through the material that contained it. That was
what I was waiting for.
A lot more sense.
I was waiting for that. It also was touched on a little bit at the final scene, how the fungus kind of decided not to eat up the person immediately and just wait a little bit and have it like in suspended, like it wasn't fully active in the body yet, and that's why I was very curious about how they're going to use it long term, but that never really happened except this container. So that was the most disappointing for me, because the scene at the beginning where it gets through the shoe, so it gets into this character's head and it compels it to climb a radio tower and spread the virus, like explode basically on the tower on the top and spread the spores everywhere. And I thought that would be like the extreme version of it, and then we would get some other like more subtle ways how the fungus would try to do something with people, and never happened. So I was disappointed.
Fungus decided that being a zombie is much more effective.
Yeah. That was when it turned into the zombies. I was like, oh,
I wouldn't say disappointing, but I would love to have more chemistry explanations in the later parts of the book, which didn't really happen. So that was kind of a let down. But I mean, why this is amazing, I think even though it doesn't hold up scientifically, I feel like, and please, chemist in the audience or Sam, please correct me if I'm wrong, like write us an email.
I think you've picked it apart enough. I think we all can assume it's all nonsense. Like I think you don't need more
maybe what I'm
confirmation.
saying is also all nonsense, because there are many ways to interpret this.
No, it makes complete sense. If you boil it down to the basics, it's clearly
but why
not
this
possible.
is amazing, and I think the author clearly did his research, is that there is a lot of scientific papers that found evidence that these organisms, similar organisms, could exist and are existing in the real world. Like in 2003, they found I will quote, acidophilic protist, which is some organism that can survive in pH less than 1, which in itself, it's like pH less than 1, that's like burning through your hand pH. So there are organisms that are able to survive in these harsh conditions and thrive in that condition. So it is possible to have something like this given enough time and development, I think. And also there is another thing which I found very fascinating. I feel like the author might have taken inspiration from this, and that is in 2015 in China they found a fungus that's called Okay, I'll try on the Latin as well as you did. Talaromyces flavus. Talaromyces flavus. And that fungus actually attaches itself to a rock, then releases acid to dissolve the rock, then extracts iron from the rock, that dissolved part, eats the iron for nutrients, and then buries itself further into the cracks to repeat the process again. And it slowly and methodically, using acid, actually dissolves rock and extracts iron from it. And I think it's kind of similar to how that fungus could get through the rubber shoe, but in a much longer time scale.
It will take years, I think.
So, yeah, that's my tangent. But you would...
No, it's great. I think it was a really fun tangent. Thank you for the research.
I mean, you talked about the horror part, so let's...
Yeah, I'm going to say this is one of my one of my most feared concepts in not just horror, but life. And I feel like it should be more explored. And I was hoping it would be here. The sense of losing control, that it would slowly influence the victim, and then the victim would be compelled to do something step by step over the years, and you would not notice that it would be happening. And all kinds of horror movies like this. For example, there's a movie called Oculus in the past, where there was a mirror. If you looked into it, then you would be compelled to do things that you wouldn't remember. So they set up some cameras, and then they looked at them later. They would see that they did all kinds of stuff that they wouldn't remember, and then the evil force would influence them more and more. Yeah. Exactly. So when I started reading this, I immediately my mind started spinning. I was really, really interested and excited that there would be something along those lines, that the fungus would slowly grow and grow in the human's brain, and the person who would be influenced was just dismissing that as a habit or a hobby, and they would be compelled to create some kind of complicated device or travel plan or something to spread the fungus, and other people would tell them that's weird, but they wouldn't listen to them because it's just a fun hobby they have, and then it would escalate and escalate until something awful would happen. It would be like an evil plan of the fungus.
Yeah. I do agree with you that the loss of control is a very scary topic for me too, and when reading this book, that crossed my mind as well. And the thing about your point, I think this would be a very good concept for a book, but the book would be much longer. Like, it would have to be explained much more thoroughly to make sense.
Never mind. So let's get back on track. I'd like to go over the plot. We'll do it a little bit faster, and I think we want to discuss the ending. The in-between, I don't know, there is much to talk about. And I think we already kind of covered the main thing we wanted to discuss, right? We wanted to talk about the fungus mind control. And I have some more points I want to talk about, but mostly at the end. So what happens is that, surprisingly, the fungus... Actually, a little surprisingly, they do contain the fungus at the beginning. So they burn the whole house, they destroy everything, but they save a small sample and they freeze it. That's why it's called cold storage.
They don't just burn the house, they firebomb the entire area.
They completely demolish everything, yes. Which, makes sense, because the fungus grows super fast. And they close it into this cold storage facility somewhere in the 70s. And then there is a time skip to 2000 something or 90s.
I think it's actually in modern time.
Does it take place in modern time?
In the year that the book was published, which is 2000.
Okay, yeah.
19.
2019.
I think it was time skipped to like present time, but I'm not 100% sure.
And we go over a bunch of adventures and a bunch of characters and a bunch of unnecessary character development that surely made Adam angry. But
I didn't really care for it. It was fine.
I like the romance was kind of funny. Like the guy Tea Cake, and he was working at the fast food place, and he was trying to like get with this woman and stuff, and they become like the main characters. There is another guy called Mike, I think.
That's the boss, or is that the
There's
boss?
a guy with the car in the.
As the father of the, or
I mean the character who's driving around with the carcass of the deer and the cat.
Oh, this guy, yeah. So
I'm not sure his name.
boyfriend of Naomi.
Yeah.
was Okay.
ex-boyfriend.
So that's like
yeah.
the first story we see with the fungus. So that was very surprisingly gory, amusing. This should be like a genre for me, gore comedy. I don't know.
Gore entertaining. Gore
wait.
entertaining.
Yeah, we're skipping
okay.
forward a bit too much. Now,
Okay.
we have this facility. This facility where the fungus is stored God knows how deep. And US military decides that they don't need this facility anymore. And they sell it off. And then someone buys it to make it a storage facility.
private one,
regular
yeah.
storage facility. Like, sure. Except that the military forgot that they have this super
Right?
dangerous
That-
virus.
I feel
Down
like the
in the
premise was they
basement,
didn't believe it was so
And
dangerous.
like it's not like it's hidden down there. There are like control panels and everything on the top floor, and they just plaster over them. Fuck them. Nobody needs that. It's on.
I think there was
don't
a section by
sure.
the main guy, what's his name, Roberto, and Roberto was he wrote like a bunch of papers, and there was a section where they mentioned he published them and put them in kind of places so it wouldn't be ignored, but they dismissed it and they thought it wasn't as dangerous, and that's why they kind of abandoned everything. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that was kind of how they explained it, but it's
still
not really.
like you don't
Yeah.
move out of somewhere and just leave
Yes.
shit in.
That's another
Like,
thing you have to
what?
like. Oh, moving on, movie time. Don't think about it.
Yes, it's very much a
Yeah.
moving on kind of affair. So anyway, our new main characters discover what was the beeping
So that's much
sound?
later in the
Beep.
book.
They kind of meet
But
up.
yeah,
in
go ahead.
the storage. I think like whatever happens before this point is kind of the introduction of the characters.
I thought like the
more
order
or
of the
less.
book was that the
I don't remember
the
what
cat and
happens
the
before
deer,
this.
and then they beeping, and then we learned that the cockroach got out, and then there is the finale. So like in order,
All right. Okay. Yeah.
like in order of the book, we don't
I
really
see,
know what's
I see.
happening, and
Yeah. Because it's kind of
Yes,
explained
yes.
in the retrospect
Yeah,
how
that's
the
much
virus
later, yeah.
escaped.
so that's why I wasn't saying that
but
at first.
Yeah.
but you're
Okay.
right.
Okay. I will. Yeah. Okay.
So the thing that they talk about first is the incident with the deer and the cat. That's why I wanted to say that first. But anyway, I just wanted to say
Yeah,
the
go
cat
ahead.
on the tree was amusing. That's all. I like that part a lot.
Yes, that was very.
So what
amusing.
happens is that he.
So the old tactic of
Yeah.
climbing the highest thing in the area and
So
exploding.
what happens is that
Very-
he kills a deer.
I think he drives somewhere and he hits a deer, and then because the deer. Yeah,
Stops the deer
looks
in the
like it's gonna
trunk.
die, so he just kills it, like shoots it in the head, I think, and then plops it in the trunk and wants to bury it somewhere, so he drives somewhere to bury it.
There's also
I'm
that
not sure
cat
about the
for some
cat.
reason. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
why the cat is
where
there.
the-
It's dead as well in the same
Where did the
trunk.
cat come from?
There was some explanation for the cat. I don't know.
Needless to say, both
Not
the cat
important.
and deer come to life, and they all get bloated, and the deer runs away, and the cat like runs and climbs a tree, gets impaled on the top of the tree or something, and it explodes
Yep.
everywhere.
It bites a branch. I
That
think.
scene was ridiculous.
Bites into the
Was
branch.
didn't
that is
it
there.
impale itself on the branch? No?
Yeah, I
Okay,
think so.
maybe not.
No, it impaled its head on the
yeah,
branch.
okay.
I think. Yeah.
And then it blew up, and Mike got
Yeah.
sploshed by this like cat intestines and everything.
He's
so
just
that was
watching
very
it in
gory.
amazement, and then it hits him straight in the face, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
Remind me though, how did it escape
Yeah,
the
so that's
vessel?
explained
Like,
later. So
how
we
did
find
it
out that there was a
infect-
cockroach. And they get into the description how a cockroach without its head can still move and can still like survive. So the fungus slowly,
Yeah.
with the corrosiveness and all the years, got through the containment. And then there was a roach near the containment, and the roach died, and it was there as a carcass. But because roaches can live without heads and all this, so it controlled the roach, and then the roach got out, and it almost didn't get out. And there's a whole drama how the roach is getting out, and then it did get
Yeah,
out,
yeah,
and yeah, all this, and then.
So looking back, it's like kind of random that here in the middle of the forest somewhere there is this
Yeah.
infected cockroach, and I'm
No,
kind
it
got
of
out
was
of the
not in
facility,
it was not in
trying
the
to-
middle of the forest. It was actually when I think Mike went Mike actually went to the facility to talk to Naomi at one point. And I'm not sure why, I don't remember the reason, but he stopped by the facility, talked to Naomi, and in between that time, there was a dead deer in his trunk. And that was the point, I think, when the cockroach actually got into the trunk.
Something like
and
that.
then the cockroach got into the trunk because it smelled the...
Yeah, it actually...
from the deer, the cat got infected.
It's a bit far-fetched, but
somehow
okay.
it got on the tire of the truck, and again it burned through rubber to get inside. And okay, but yeah.
Yeah, because the cockroach was run over with the car. Or something,
That's it.
right?
Yeah, okay. So it was run over, and that was why it was on the rubber tire of the truck, and then the fungus immediately got into the trunk somehow.
Yeah, that was very far-fetched
Okay.
and very I was laughing at this because it seems like every single thing has to be dramatized, like for a movie scene. It's like even from the point of view of the headless cockroach, it has to be drama. It's always getting almost there. Oh, it's squished now. Oh, it doesn't matter.
I can already see the camera fly looking
exactly.
at the fungus like it's moving over the parts of the car, the shaft and everything, then through the trunk lid. And... Okay, so now we have Mike splashed over with the fungus, and I think at this point doesn't he pass out for a
Something
bit?
like
at
that,
this
yeah.
point,
He passes out, and
and I think we jump at this point to the other two.
There's also a point where they describe some chemistry regarding what makes the fungus less active and what kind of prevents its growth. And because either Mike does a lot of drugs or he drinks a lot or something he does prevents the fungus to grow as fast, and that's why he doesn't get mutated as fast. I don't know what it was.
The alcohol in
something
his
he
blood.
consumes.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's alcohol. I think he was permanently drunk.
So it
or
was fun,
something.
all the reasoning why this and that happens. It was funny. So then there is this fast food point, and it's somehow built on the secret facility that was very far-fetched to me, like the containment units. So it's under the fast food place or not?
Was it? I don't remember.
I'm not sure.
I thought the story... They don't work at
I
a
don't
fast food, right?
know
They
what you
work
mean.
as security guards of...
Security guards.
Yeah.
Security guard
And they work for security guards?
for the storage
for
facility.
What exactly?
It's the storage facility. So they rebuilt, the government sold the storage facility to some private organization, and then the organization...
They built a storage facility in it.
Yeah. And then...
And what are they storing? We
They
don't
are
know.
leasing the storage to people.
Furniture or whatever.
Okay.
You can rent it even here, or I think in the US it's quite popular. Like you buy a storage unit, and you just put stuff in it. Like in Breaking Bad, they put the piles of money in it.
Exactly.
I see.
That's sort of
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that way, and
that's
and
exactly
as
the
a
sort of
storage
storage facility.
to be like a reputable storage facility, it needs security. So they are employed as
Hire
they
teenagers.
employ teenagers as security guards and pay them minimum wage probably, and and they have a very shitty boss, which also was very very relatable in some ways.
So there's a bunch of character backstory,
moving
but we can
forward
skip to the
now,
beeping now, I think.
Yes. Now I think
Moving
now
on,
it's fine to move to the beeping. So our two characters meet up in the facility, and they hear beeping sound, and they decide they are too curious to let it go, so they break the plaster wall and find this panel, this beeping, and showing that there is some issue somewhere in level, I don't know, -4, and they decide to investigate because why not?
Mm-hmm. So they climb down. Yeah.
And yes, they climbed out these incredibly long shafts, God knows where.
Unlike the stairs, it was entertaining.
Find the... Yeah.
That was also so unnecessary. He kept describing how it would feel if he fell down and died from the ladder. I was like, why are you going on about? He described 4 types of death, how he would fall down the ladder. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe the author has a phobia of
Maybe
heights
it
or
was very-
something.
I think that's just how
It was-
D-Cake is. Given
Oh,
that
yeah.
he's just
It seemed in character.
He cannot stop thinking. That's his whole thing. Yeah, and
Talking,
talking. think talking. Like he's instantly he's constantly talking, and when he's not talking, he's overthinking everything. So that's, I think, his whole characterization. So I think it was quite in character this way.
So anyway, they get down to the lowest level. They open up the doors there, and they discover a Rat King.
Yes.
Is it Rat King?
Have you?
Yes, a Rat King. I was like, what the fuck is a Rat King? I had to Google that. I think I've heard of the term, but I forgot it. So yeah, it's just a bunch of rats tangled together.
It's actually a real thing, which I very much.
It's cool.
Yeah, wouldn't believe that something like that could happen, but it actually happens.
So they tangle their tails and they die because they can't move anywhere.
Yep.
Is that what happens?
Yeah, they tangle themselves into each
yeah.
other, and then they cannot untangle, so slowly they start starving and start eating each other up, and that's how that works out. Yeah.
So anyway, there is a infected Rat King that they kind of poke at for a bit and decide that it's kind of fucked up and leave.
But it's like sprawling with the fungus. Like it looks super weird and it's all mushed together.
Yeah, and actually Naomi kills it, right? Naomi draws I'm not sure.
Yeah, they keep talking about it, and yes. She takes a pipe or something and smashes it.
This is like the characterization that Tea Cake doesn't have the guts to do that. So Naomi, I think she studied to be either a veterinarian or
something like that. Yes.
So I think she's like more resilient to this kind of stuff. So and empathetic to the Rat King. So she kills it, and then they basically go back up, right?
Yes, and now is the final super thriller action scene, non-stop action scene movie time. So first is the deer.
They climb out of the shaft, and suddenly there is a zombie deer.
That was fun.
In the elevator.
That was fun.
What?
That was a fun scene.
What's even happening? How did it get here? Nobody knows.
Like, deer in an elevator. Like, how did the deer push the button to go down an elevator? It's like, how? And it is actually explained. So that was...
So deer comes in there, it's kind of bloated, and they keep looking at it, but because they know how to react, or they have an idea to hide, they jump around the corner and the deer explodes in guts, but they are not hit by the fungus, because they knew it looked suspicious and they hit. So then Mike comes around from the corner with a gun and starts shooting at them, because he's also infected by the fungus. That's the guy who was driving the truck with the cat.
Like the fungus finally got to his brain and started controlling his decision process, and his decision process was to find people, essentially, like go to an area where there are people, and he remembered his previous girlfriend Naomi, and so went to the storage facility to meet her, and then what was like, where did he find a gun? He had a gun, right?
That's a good... Okay.
He had a gun.
I skipped the...
It's America.
The deer like gets into the elevator and comes up and down or something, and they're worried why the elevator... And then it's revealed that Mike was pushing the button for the deer.
Yes.
And that's the part I was like, what? Like how do the fungus communicates with itself through spores? What's happening?
I think it's said that it communicates via spores, but that's some complex communication going on there.
That's the part I was very not going along with.
The whole thing about the fungi intelligence is again very much. Let's not think about it too hard, because at some point they say that like when they split, like they become two independent like creatures.
That's exactly my question. Yes.
Colonies, maybe, but they still can very well communicate. Which is like, okay, sure. And the extent, like the intelligence is I don't want to say inconsistent, but it's very high for.
Yeah.
I don't mind that
fungus.
it's high, but I minded the way, like, how does the memory work? Because they keep talking about how the fungus
Yeah.
learned. So first it learned how to go through corrosive, like steel, and then it learns how to
Yes.
go through the rubber. And somehow it always knows these things because it learned them, but it's not connected.
I have that in my notes as well. Like the part where it got through the rubber again, through the tire, that was a completely different strain that didn't get through the rubber in Hero's shoe, because here, like the
And presumably it would go through the same process as the first one. It took just
That's an explanation, I guess.
I guess that's an explanation, but I think in the book itself, it was like.
Well, I'm not
set
sure that
in
was
the
set in the book that
it,
way.
It was familiar with the process, so it was no strange
Yeah.
process to the fungus. So maybe it was just the way it was written.
Oh, wait a minute. Didn't they take the sample from the?
No. They
lady
took the
that
sample. The hero
died?
took the sample
No?
before they even know she was infected, or she had it on their shoe. So those were two different samples. One was on her shoe, and one was
Never
in
mind
the
then.
vial that she took.
Yeah.
And then when she started being influenced, she, I think, gave the sample to someone else, either Roberto or Trini, and then she shot herself. And that's so the way of communicating between these samples, I don't know if there was some communication or if it's just written in a way that it feels like they are somehow communicating with.
I think there is implied that it's using some pheromones or something which wouldn't work for a closed vial. So
I don't know.
I think that's a plot hole.
I was waiting for them to come back to the beginning in the prologue where they said it covers an area of XXX miles. And I was waiting for the fungus that learned something to connect back into the colony.
The mainframe.
And then infect. And then that's how they transfer. Like I was expecting for a scene that two would touch and they would like exchange the knowledge or something. But that never happened.
Like
and it would be kind of a fun concept that you have to prevent the fungus that's mutated different ways to connect so they don't like advance
Learn
even more.
from each other.
I thought there'd be like a fun plot device. And the way it thinks is not explained, and I was hoping there would be something, but how we can remember something, or I can think something, I can decide something.
Yeah, I think the thinking part was mainly for the like dramatization and for making it cool, because it was all those parts where we have a POV of the fungus were very entertaining to me.
Yeah.
So I think it was mainly for the dramatization, but
I was thinking that it's like if you get a human infested, then it can kind of think. If you get a deer, it can think like a little different, a little less. And that's why the perspective. But no.
But then there was like a super smart cockroach that can go through. Like,
that does make sense. So,
infinite amount
because
of
I like the
skill
idea that when it possesses a brain, then it has the ability to like use it in a way somehow, But no, that's not
and
explored.
the cockroach
that's
didn't
what I was
even have a
hoping would be
brain
there.
at that point, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
or do
Exactly,
cockroaches
there was
have
nothing.
brains in their head, or like is it actually like a distributed neural network throughout their whole? I don't know, but yeah, the bottom line is that the thinking part of the fungus is very plot holy.
So anyway, Mike starts shooting. They run away. They lock themselves in some kind of storage unit, and he's trying to get inside to infect them, but he can't figure it out. And he's just like shooting the door and hitting the door and falling apart from being eaten by the fungus. Meanwhile, Naomi and Tea Cake locked inside. They have all kinds of strange conversations, but finally they call some organization that specializes in containment of.
Yeah, they
biological
actually
weapons or
figure out
something.
that they should call the specific organization that owned the facility before it was sold.
The containment
Yeah,
storage.
the government branch. So they actually call some secretary, and luckily the secretary is actually like relatively smart and not disheveled by the government bureaucracy, and she actually calls back to Roberto, right? Who's
so it's the same guy from the beginning.
the same guy from the beginning, but fast forward 30 years or something like that. So he's old now, and
Yes.
he's very tired of every bullshit that happens, like, which is very funny.
He was a fun character, yeah. That was amusing. So he makes a plan and he goes there to contain the thing, and on the way he picks up a nuke.
Yeah, just it's like,
Just
by the way,
backpack
we've hidden
nuke.
a nuke just for this case, because
It was very funny. I was like, here we go. It's
well,
like,
but
oh
because
my
they
God.
were very
In
they
my
were very
kid's
much
basement.
concerned about the whole situation, and that makes sense because they've seen it firsthand what it did to Hero and how fast it did it. So, like, if this ever got out, this would be a problem, and the only way to prevent that is to bomb the place. So they stole a nuke from the government and then hid it somewhere for just in case this.
Not even somewhere. In one of the, I think, Trini's kids' basement or something
Some
like
kid's
that.
basement,
Like, what the?
They go to pick it up, and the son stops. The mom is like, "Hi, mom," and the mom is like holding a nuke, and she's like, "Oh,
Would you search for a nuke in a kid's basement? Probably not. I think it's a good hiding place. Yeah.
It's the whole justification why they still have the
Fantastic.
nuke and how they use it and all this. It was kind of funny. And then the guy is stopped by the police, and he has to pretend that he's I don't know who to be let go.
Oh yes, he pretends to be a racist supremacist
Yeah.
to like get on the good side of the.
Yeah, that was
He's like, am I? Do I look white enough? Is the cop gonna let me go? My name's Diaz. I'm not so sure. And so this was kind of funny. And then he finally gets there, and because he's too old, he has all kinds of problems to carry the heavy backpack and shoot the gun and everything. All kinds of stuff happens.
In the meanwhile, a biker gang arrives at the facility to smuggle some
like, why the
TVs.
fuck is this there? Like, what was the whole point?
Yeah.
Because we needed more bodies
guess
to
that
infect.
was
Also, you need more drama in the movie. I think it was genius what happened at the beginning. At the end, there was so much stuff going on, and it's like to heighten the drama. Like the ending was very much a climax of a Hollywood movie.
So anyway, like the biker gang gets to the facility and starts like trying to go to the facility to smuggle some TVs, but then the boss of Naomi and Tea Cake, who is actually part of the biker gang and who is the main smuggler, notices that there is a hole in the wall, and immediately assumes that it was Tea Cake's job. So he do they go down the wall, or do they just move on to smuggle the?
No. I think they move on. I'm not entirely sure what happens now. I think they start smuggling the TVs, but at some point,
Mike comes back up.
Oh, Mike comes and.
Mike comes back up and he infects them and logs
because
them
the fungus
in a
is another
room.
thought process super plan, and instead of just shooting people, he runs at them and shoves them into contained storage, and then closes the door behind them,
And
and
pukes
then
on them.
explodes. Yes.
Yes.
So it's like a super plan to get them into a place and then infect them at once.
No, and it learns to puke around this point.
Oh yeah, it puked. It was
To infect
it was
people,
Puking,
yeah.
it got out like literally, and then we have a lot of bikers infected inside of a containment unit. Then we have Naomi and Tea Cake, which are outside of the containment unit, and then we have
They decide to leave.
But there is
because
also what's the name of the boss guy? Like, I forgot.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know. Also, some old lady
Oh, yeah.
I don't
turns
know
up.
where she came from. I don't remember who that was, but yeah.
So there was this lady that had a storage, she had a storage in that facility, and she kind of spends time there for some reason.
I
She
think
likes-
her
I had no idea
son-
why she was
like,
there.
all-
Like,
Her
old
son
furniture
died,
there.
and
And
she went to store his gun in the storage facility.
what?
So
I guess
Okay,
That's why she
forgot
had a
that
gun.
She had a gun.
But I think they mentioned that she usually spends like
Yes.
a lot of time in there. So she kind of I think she sleeps in there for a bit and wakes up, and all this carnage is happening outside. She ends up shooting. I'm not sure if maybe Mike or someone else.
she shoots
I was just, thanks, lady. Please go away.
She shoots Mike,
for
and
your
then
own
she's like,
safety.
"I killed a guy. I should run," and she just disappears, and that's
runs away, and that's it. You never heard of her
She
again.
died. Never mind.
No, she didn't die. She just she had a mental break, or not a mental breakdown, but she had a very logical argument with herself that, oh, I killed a guy. There's probably some people coming that could arrest me, so I should just go away. And and Tea-Cake and Naomi was, and Tea-Cake and Naomi were like, yeah, sure, lady, go. There's no problem here. Just very, very like, okay, we have to move the story along, so let's just please not deal with this anymore, and let's go to the infected people in the storage unit, which I think at that point.
And they start they start trying to, they are infected enough to be dangerous, but not enough to. The fungus compels them to argue with Mike to let them out.
The fungus decides to stalk
that locked storage unit, which he ends up doing. And then we have a bunch of zombie bikers going out, where there is our agent guy kind of waiting.
Yeah, before that they meet with Tea-Cake.
What was he doing there? He was shooting.
That was before they got out. So Naomi and Tea-Cake meet Roberto, and he gives him the nuke and tells them to go downstairs and set it off.
Yeah, there's no other way to arm the nuke, and like the timer is only 4 minutes or something like that.
14 minutes, and it's like not sure how long it will actually be timed for.
Yeah.
It's like, it can be plus minus 4 or 5 minutes. Whatever, they go back down and they start setting the nuke, and he destroys the cars and the motorbikes, so they couldn't escape with the gun.
His justification is that he's too old to climb down.
But at some point his bags gives out.
I think he starts shooting the motorcycles.
At one point, the bad guy boss goes. No, it's not one of the biker gang guys, which was some sort of doctor. I don't remember. Got infected.
Even before he gets there, he gets his back thrown out.
No, I think that was.
He's already on the floor when he's shooting at the guy. Because I remember he had to. Yeah, because there's a scene he starts shooting the motorcycles, and then the last motorcycle he couldn't hit, and he falls down, and then he starts shooting at it from the ground. And then the guy comes over.
I think the zombies start coming out of the facility, and he shoots the gun in a weird way.
Right. I guess he was
which messes with his back. He falls over, and then he's like, "So at least I need to shoot the bikes."
Yeah, exactly. So I think one of
and then he's just kind of lying there, and the fungus starts like spreading towards him, and he's like, I don't know.
That one felt very strange to me, like the way that.
It was like a very surprising, hilarious. Like I didn't expect at all. He just shoots it from the hip, and because he's old now, he's an old man. His back completely breaks, and he falls on the ground. He can't move anymore.
That was hilarious. not for our character Roberto. That was not funny for him, but like very very much surprising and funny to read that.
And in the meanwhile, Naomi and Tea-Cake are somewhere down in the facility setting up the bomb. And they find out that it was, in fact, set up to explode with them in the facility.
So when they were given the bomb, it was already started.
But they managed to escape anyway.
Which was very funny. Like in the book, I remember that quote specifically because the chapter ended with Naomi and Tea-Cake figuring out that the counter has has already been started by Roberto on the surface. So they have been going down with a live nuke the whole time. And when Naomi finds out, she's saying something like, "That son of a bitch." And the next chapter starts with, "The son of a bitch sincerely hoped that they were getting out at this moment," which was very well written. I really enjoyed that.
It's all very entertaining. Like the writing is great.
They were starting to climb back out. In the meanwhile, Roberto is killing everyone that's trying to get out of the facility. There is a problem that the fungus that's getting out from the first guy that he shot is slowly creeping towards him as he lies on the ground. So he has to, unable to move because of his broken back. So he has to, what is it? Like shoot a glass door out of its hinges to fall on him. And then the fungus actually cannot continue because it has to like crawl over this glass door to get to him. So it gives him a couple of minutes or seconds.
Yes, exactly.
That was pretty cool, but also very very much. Yeah, this is just for the drama, nothing else.
And then I thought we were done with the drama and the nonsense by now. And then the boss comes over. It's even more nonsense.
Yeah, the bad boss guy.
And they have a shootout,
And then he kind of wins and he wants to steal his keys, so he grabs them from his pocket and he bends over and he's looking at Roberto. But then his gun, when he's standing up, gets hit by the door and he shoots himself in the foot.
Yeah, okay. I forgot about that.
Something like that, yeah.
And he freaks out, so he starts falling, he loses balance and falls on his back and on the gun and shoots himself through the heart. And I was like, what? And dies right there. That was ridiculous. I thought that we were done with the nonsense moments, and when this happened, I was like, what else is gonna happen? This is like insanity.
This is...
But I think this is pretty much the end now, since DK now may make it out. They pick up the agent, load him into the car, and drive away. And that's
about how timer is unstable, so they really don't know when it's gonna blow up.
There's a moment of drama if it's gonna blow up or not. So there is a moment
of suspension, right? That like we don't know if it's gonna blow up or if it's not gonna blow up, and then it blows up, and that's the end, I think.
And the way the end is told is that TK imagines different scenarios that could happen. Like one way the fungus spreads all everywhere and everybody dies. The other way it explodes here and there and it spreads somewhere. And the other way this happens. And then one of the ways is it all implodes into itself and destroys everything. And fungus is completely like eradicated and everybody's happy and fine. And that's the way it happened. And the end.
Yeah.
I have to say the writer has a very good way of making something fun, and all the like suspense moments. Most of the ending was like building up to specific moments where it's just all about the suspense of is it going to happen, it's not going to happen, is this guy going to do that, and then something ridiculous happens just to have more suspense. So I think that's why he's so popular with the movies and the way he writes the stories.
It shows that he knows how like the structure of a plot should be to really build up tension and build up the drama in a way that works well for a movie, and even for this story it worked very well.
Even when the story is very, very far-fetched and doesn't really make much sense and there is no justification, it's still very entertaining.
I'm worried that in a movie it would be far more noticeable how far-fetched it all is, and it would just look ridiculous.
I'm very curious how much they're going to stick to it, or how much is going to be changed in the movie. So I'm very curious what they're going to do.
Yeah, this is then the end of the book. There is just like a short epilogue. Pretty much everyone's happy. Tiki and Naomi are together, and everything
Roberto is looking at his wife in the garden.
Sunshine.
Thinking about himself. I'm so good at my job. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I like the voice. I like the accent. That's perfect.
It was funny. Fun ending. It was very, very fun. So I liked it a lot.
It was rather abrupt from all the suspense we've been subjected to, but yeah, it was fine, I guess.
So I have to say, after we've talked about it, it doesn't make sense, but I already knew it didn't make sense, and it's a lot of fun, and I still had lots of fun with it, so I think it's a really fun book. Much more fun than I expected.
It's a fun book, but you shouldn't analyze it too much. It really hurts it a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I tend
it
to
is
agree.
short, and it goes by very fast, and the point isn't the analysis, the point is the drama, so that worked well. Chen always gets angry with movies, how it doesn't make any sense. I always tell him it's for movie drama. So
yeah, exactly.
So I have a question. So we nuked the fungus in the facility. What about the fungus outside of the facility?
But that's what I thought the whole area like covered. So hopefully that included.
No, in the...
Well, no, it was underground explosion.
Yeah.
That's the entire point. That it doesn't really...
Oh, that's a fair point.
Nothing
There
really
should
reaches the
definitely be
surface.
at least some fungus left after the cat in the forest, right?
And I mean, I don't think they mentioned any firebombing here.
So we skipped the part
I don't
where
think so. It would make
the fungus
sense.
finds some
but-
water at some point and super grows, like super ultra growth.
Yeah, but that's
And then it
under
starts
the
raining.
facility, right? That's still like...
And then both
Yeah, that's underground
and
and
then
that's
both
nuked.
outside. It's also
It
growing
died,
outside
presumably.
because it starts raining outside, and the fungus is growing on the ground outside.
Yeah,
and
but
that's like
that's
the
still,
more
like-
drama. Everybody's
yeah.
doomed.
That was growing like faster, closer to Roberto, so it was still close to the facility enough to like blow
So
up.
I assumed
guess.
at that point everything is close to the facility, and
yes.
that everything exploded there. Everything was neatly wrapped
But there
up
is
nearby.
still that the cat that exploded somewhere in the
That I
forest.
imagined
and
was the
that's
forest next to the facility or something. I don't know. It's
like presumably that was a fair walking
I guess-
distance.
I guess we have to assume that I think there was a mention that the forest is not good for hunting because there's nothing living there. So maybe we just have to assume that the fungus just died there because there was no actual
maybe
host
it's like
for it.
dormant, and it's
yeah.
the post-credit scene for the sequel.
Sounds more like it's alive
Yeah.
in
But
that
that's
forest,
fair.
but
That's
okay.
like it has survived in a containment unit for decades, so it probably
Yeah, it
still
would definitely
lives
survive.
inside of that forest somewhere. So I guess there's gonna be a sequel.
I mean, if I wanted to make sense, I'm just going to think they firebombed
Maybe.
it.
Yeah,
Like,
Maybe.
why wouldn't they? Other than
Or
like,
there's gonna be a sequel.
I don't
Or,
know.
you know, we
Yeah,
might have a sequel.
maybe.
But I don't know. I don't know if I want a sequel. Do you want a sequel?
no, I think it's a good one-off. Like it's satisfying. Yeah, one-off. So
no, I don't.
there's no need to repeat it.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
before you end, would you be interested in the next book he wrote, the Aurora, sun killed the electricity apocalypse?
Not hugely. It sounds
Yeah.
super generic.
I found
I have the same feeling.
I have
I
one
find
more
the
question.
concept very alluring, but I think
I have
I'd
one more
rather
question.
read a Wikipedia page about it than a whole book. But I'm not sure. Let's see when it comes out, because it's not out
It
yet.
came out 2 years ago, but
Oh, it's out. Okay.
the book, and people like it about the same like Cold Storage. It's gonna be similar. It's gonna be like a fun ride, you know. So yeah,
Maybe sometime.
maybe sometime.
Maybe sometime. I have one more question. Which is more unbelievable? Super acid producing fungi, US forgetting it had such a fungi, or US losing one of its like backpack nukes and letting some random agent keep it in his basement?
I would say yes. I would say.
Probably
They
the
tried
correct
to
answer.
justify the first point the least, so I'm gonna go with the first one is the least justifiable because they justified how he pretended the nuke was scrapped and the documentation was faked and everything. So that was kind of explained, and
We've lost plenty of nukes. That's perfectly
exactly
believable.
so that's believable. And the second point that that also with the documentation and they forgot and he had to fight for them to not dismiss it, so it's kind of justified. First point, not at all, they didn't talk about it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
But the answer is clearly yes. That was very good. Yeah. Alright, so thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope we can meet again. It's always fun to talk to you, all three of us, about a thing like this. And thanks for joining me.
Yeah, hopefully we find
Yeah,
similar stupid
This
book.
was
That
very fun to talk about.
discussion.
I think more fun to talk about it than actually reading it.
Yeah, it's great. Alright, so thanks for the analysis and see you on the next episode.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks. See you. Bye.